That is so rude. Who the does that? What level of entitlement is this? People get fired for this, and they should. Oh, for a 10-year-old. Okay. Why are Americans so confusing? But if you don't want to do that, you're a big ass drama mama.
You're through to 1-800-DRAMA, the show where you share your biggest dilemmas and I help you navigate them. I'm Shaaba, and with your help,
and sometimes mine,
let's help people figure out if they are the drama, because sometimes you just need an outside perspective and we can all expand our own mindsets along the way. Are you ready to dive deep into the a-holes? Let's go.
Hi Peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back and thank you for clicking on today's episode. It is Monday. You know what that means? It's time for us to go audition for a-holes. I don't know why that was so enthusiastic today, but I'm not mad about it. I need to start with a big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video and explain how they could be a massive help to you. Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network with over 4,500 servers worldwide. And what do? They work very hard to keep you safe. They do that by masking your IP address, encrypting your data, and doing all sorts of other very clever things, which is great because Brightspeed, a huge internet provider in the States, are currently investigating a data breach where hackers are said to have stolen over 1 million customers' personal data. Names, numbers, addresses, payment histories. And this is annoyingly happening more and more, so do make sure that you're protecting yourself online. Now, Surfshark also has some other really handy benefits. Things like their email scam checker, which integrates onto Chrome and Gmail, and things like unlocking content libraries all around the world. So you can watch your favorite shows, even if they're not released in your country. Are you guys watching Bridgerton at the moment? I haven't seen the new series, but it's just dropped and I'm very excited to. The Queen Charlotte spin-off is honestly one of my go-to rewatches on Netflix. It always makes me cry. If you've seen it, you know the bit I'm talking about. It's such a good show. But if you haven't seen Bridgerton, sit down, let me recap it for you. It's set in this very glamorous Regency period where high society obsesses over high fashion, status, and who is looking under whose bloomers. And lurking beneath all of the silk and scandal is this gossip columnist, XOXO, who's ruining everybody's reputations, and it's all very sneaky. What you might not know is the gossip columnist is actually a hacker trying to siphon everyone's personal data in the Regency period. It's true. But it's okay because Surfshark came along to the latest ball, delivered a can of whoop ass, and he unveiled the hacker who said, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. That's a different show. Anyway, he told the whole ton that they could get 4 extra months free of Surfshark VPN if they used this QR code or this link, surfshark.com/Shaaba, and the code Shaaba at checkout, right before he became Bridgerton's most eligible bachelor. That is exactly how the show goes. And if you want to verify that for yourself, remember that you too can use Surfshark VPN to access shows just like Bridgerton, no matter where you are. You should know that I'm a paying customer of Surfshark. I have been for years. Your subscription can be used on an unlimited number of devices, and there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's absolutely no drama here. All of the details are downstairs in the description box if you're interested. For now, let's get on with the show. Am I the drama for refusing to use an English name? Oh, why is my POC popping up? You know how we have a gaydar? I feel like I have a POC-dar, and it's a blinking right now, I'll tell you that. Let's see. Opie says, I'm a 20-year-old woman and I'm ethnically Korean, but grew up bouncing around different countries due to my parents' job. I know this is a digression and we've only just started, but I have to say, I do love how media, because you just talk about Bridgerton, Netflix, I love how media has really reduced the stigma, specifically of Eastern Asian cultures. It's very cool. From K-pop being such a huge thing, to K-pop demon hunters, look at my little Dorothy, to Squid Game being the phenomenal sensation that it was. I just like that Western media does not seem to be dominating media as much as it used to without merit. I think that's very cool. Back to OP though, 20-year-old woman, ethnically Korean, grew up bouncing around different countries. My friend said that I am passively bilingual in that I understand when my grandparents speak Korean to me, but I struggle to respond. That is very real. I like the term passively bilingual. Forget about reading or writing, lol. My parents both grew up in the US, and the grandparents I have left speak English, so my bad Korean has never caused communication problems. My parents gave me a Korean name and never gave me an English name. Who knows why? Even though a lot of ABCs usually go by an English name at school or work. It might be worth clarifying some of these terms from my understanding, and this is only going from what I've seen at university. So Eastern Asian peaches, please do correct me if I'm wrong. But typically, because Westerners are known for being stubborn, Eastern Asian names can be seen as harder to pronounce, so they navigate Western life if they live in Western countries with an English name. OP says, this is fine by me, I like my name, and yet it sucked when some of the teachers got it wrong growing up. But that is life. Babe, I feel you. My name is Shaaba. It's only 6 letters, 2 syllables, and I feel like when you look at it, it's kind of obvious how it's supposed to be said, right? There's a double A, and then a single A, and there's a sh, And that's really common in the English language, but the amount of people that mess up my name, and it's definitely coming from an unconscious bias. This is why people have English names, because, and I am not exaggerating, 90% of the time, a stranger sees my name and doesn't know who I am in a professional service role where they're like dealing with paperwork or something. They hesitate. They struggle so much. They're like scared to even try. I had a lot of internal racism growing up, and for some reason I was just like, life would be so much easier if I was called Emma or Claire. And I don't have that now. I love my name. I have no desire to assimilate, even when people still continue to get it wrong. I do often wonder what Western name would suit me, like if I wasn't to be called Shaaba. But like OP is saying, I much prefer my name, and my like towards my name, at least now, heavily outweighs the fact that teachers, etc., get it wrong. It is this, that's life. Now here's the problem, says OP. I started a part-time job and there is another girl working there. We'll call her Emma. It's a fake name. Maybe she's about 25, and it's uncomfortable because of my name. Emma is Muslim. Ooh, that took a turn that I wasn't expecting, and takes her religion really seriously. She wears hijab, she prays at work, so she is a practicing Muslim, I hear you. And apparently my name means something bad in her religion. She doesn't call me by my name. It's always, hey you, or something like that. Oh, that feels weird. That is not at all what I expected to be happening in this post, but I don't like that from Emma. Let's see where it's going though. Emma recently complained to our manager, Jen, about your name, who's really just our equal, but with a nicer title. Okay, well then she is your manager. That my name is insulting to her religion. It was about your name. Wow. The two of them basically cornered me in the break room and asked if I could go by a nickname or an English name. That is so rude. All of this has been handled so wrong. Imagine complaining about somebody's name, especially as a minority yourself, where the practices that you're doing, things like praying at work, wearing a hijab, you are absolutely going to be feeling a sense of stigma in a Western world. I'm not saying you should, let's just clarify that. I'm saying that you absolutely will be, because people are assholes. And this feels the same to me as when LGBT plus people turn on each other and they're like, oh, being gay is fine, but being trans, and I'm like, you have faced oppression. You see what it feels like to live in a world that doesn't quite accept you, that tells you constantly that you're not allowed to fit in, and yet you turn around and inflict that on somebody else? It boggles my mind. And it makes me so ragey. I said no, says OP, obviously, but Emma and Jen think I'm not respectful of Emma's religion, and it's not a big deal to use an English name since so many Asians do. And it's not like I speak Korean or anything. This is making me unspeakably angry. To even think that is one thing, but to complain about it is another. To then go to a break room, to not have this as an official meeting of any kind, but for both of you to gang up on someone. Who the does that in a work situation where you're like, I'm going to my boss because I understand that this is the route in which I complain, but then you both go on somebody's break about an official work issue that really needs to be supervised by someone external, whilst they are eating a sandwich. Like, no. To then say that it's disrespectful to someone's religion, it's hard without understanding the nuances. I'm trying to think. Maybe her name is like Shaitan or haram. Where does it mean the devil or sin? You know, something like that. But just because something to you in a non-dominant language can sound like something else doesn't give you the right to change someone else's identity. What level of entitlement is this? But the thing that is pissing me off the most is to say it's not a big deal because so many Asians do. How reductive is that? How gross does that feel? How far detached from compassion are you to not realize how dehumanizing that is? Imagine taking that principle and extracting it and putting it into a different situation. Hey OP, I see you're eating a sandwich over there. Why aren't you eating rice? So many Asians do. Imagine putting that to Emma. Hey Emma, why do you have a job? Islam says women don't have an obligation to work and provide for their family. You should be a housewife, right? Like so many strict Muslim people are. That's literally how racists speak. That's how really toxic stereotypes linking skin colour to things like terrorism come to be. OP ends by saying, I'm not sure if this is a hill worth dying on, but I also feel like I shouldn't have to go by any other name. No, you don't! Am I the drama? Absolutely not. And beyond my rage, I am just full of sadness for you, OP, that you even question this, to the point where you are coming on a forum and genuinely asking if you should be holding any accountability. Oh man, I need some faith in humanity restored. Can somebody comment some love lovely things, please, in chat to make me believe in humans again, because this is just disgusting. Why am I getting so ragey at this one? In part, I'm kind of shocked that I'm getting this upset, but another way, I'm absolutely not. OP, you need to complain. You absolutely need to take this further up the chain, put in an official work complaint against Jen and Emma. They need to understand that this isn't how you do things. Jen in particular, if she has a higher title and is being posed as your manager, needs to understand that this is a massive faux pas at work. This is beyond unprofessional. And I don't know why the whole being in the break room and doing it as two people in particular is bugging me, but it really is. People get fired for this shit, and they should. The level of intimidation that you will feel, the level of discomfort you are making someone feel, literally for having a name, for their identity. How dare you take somebody's comfort away at work like that? Makes me very mad. And Emma, I understand to an extent where this came from. I do not agree with the level of entitlement, and I think in some ways I'm more pissed off with Jen than I am with Emma, at least initially, for bringing it up, because she went and complained to someone else. She didn't come to you and be like, oh, change your name. And what should have happened is she goes, I'm feeling uncomfortable for this reason. And then Jen, being the manager, should have done her f***ing job and said, hey, I understand cultural differences exist, but here's the thing, it's her identity, it's her name. It's not meant to offend you. It's not being done to offend you. This is a you problem. It doesn't go further than this office. And that would have been appropriate. That's why I think I'm more annoyed at Jen than I am at Emma. But the level of entitlement still for Emma to feel like, because it's against her religion, this is being brought up. Do you know, and I'm assuming that Jen is white in this situation. It's funny because it leads back to my digression right at the beginning, where I was saying that I'm really happy that Eastern Asian culture is less stigmatized and Eastern Asian media in general is received and celebrated, and that's fantastic. This is true, but the same can definitely not be said for South Asian culture, especially in the States, especially in the UK. Oh my god. And I wonder if maybe that is a little bit at play here. I wonder if what's happening is Jen is like, oh, I need to not be racist. A brown Muslim person is coming to me saying that their religion has been offended, and they've gone, must overcorrect, right? And not considered the fact that OP is also a minority in this situation. Perhaps that is what's going on here, but even so, this is not okay. This is not how you handle it. This level of entitlement needs to be not validated and asking other people to change. Because the reality is, there are so many conflicts across cultures and languages. There are really funny TikToks and reels that I see that are being done in an endearing way about how the most basic English names, white names, Western names mean very different things in other languages. And this happens in the corporate world a lot. The translation of product names, for example, don't always carry across. I'll share an example with you because I'm a business geek and facts like this just make me very happy. The car company Chevrolet released their Nova, which is such a pretty celestial name in Western language. The stars, mythical, movement, force, power. It's magic, it's sexy, it works. But in Spanish-speaking countries and to Latin Americans, the words Nova literally translates into doesn't go, with Spanish being one of the most spoken countries in the entire world. We're talking Latin Americans in the States, the South American continent, a lot of Europe, for example. And it became such a meme in the business world. Not really memes weren't invented like the thing back, but you know what I mean? Meme. It's a very highlighted example of cultural difference. Now, the difference here is as a company, should they wish to, they didn't, by the way, and I actually think the marketing of this from this meme has served them very well, but they could change it. It is not a person, it is not racist, but to expect a person in your office to literally change the core of their identity for your benefit is so ridiculous. This to me is no different to OP turning around and saying, you praying in the office makes me uncomfortable. I have personal traumas around that. I want to see that, and I'm asking you not to do it here. Like, could you imagine the absolute uproar that would happen if OP said that? This is the exact same thing, and anybody who thinks that OP is the drama in this situation, I go back to manager Jen and tell them that Emma being hostile to their birth given name is creating a hostile work environment and is disrespectful to them and their culture. Point out that it's not them making the issue. Emma is the one actively causing the problem. They are just trying to exist. Put the shoe on the other foot. I definitely agree with taking this further, but Jen is part of the problem. I would not go to Jen about this. She is the one that's created a hostile work environment. Emma can have these issues. She can bring it up, and it's a manager's position to know when to be like, this is a you problem, or yes, we need to deal with this as an office. And Jen is just as much to blame here, if not more so, because of how she went about it, cornering you in the break room. Oh, that's pissing me off. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because I am a manager. I think about these things a lot, and I hear often when we talk about like work things, I definitely have like a very Toxically positive mindset, because I live in this bubble, right? My world, what I interact with every day, is a really cute work setting. I realize that I'm saying this and my editor is watching this video. Hey Maddie, I think you're super cool. And I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, we're a family. Like, no, we do not have toxic closeness in the workplace, but I do take being a manager very seriously. In my workplaces, we have like a team of 6 and a team of 4, and everyone is so kind and so considerate. And I realize I'm lucky to have that, but part of the reason that exists is because everybody, including myself, works hard to make sure we're not being dicks. That's just not what we do in professional work environments. These people are giving you their lives. Most of their day, when they are not sleeping, is spent working for you, and this is how you treat them? You make it so difficult for them. You corner them in a break room and tell them to change their name. What the f*** is Jen on? Jen needs to be part of the disciplinary. You need to go above Jen, assuming there is someone above Jen. And if you don't, you need to report it to an independent ombudsman or standards body, because this is not okay. Do not take this to the manager. Yeah, take it to HR. Let them know that your manager is also harassing you about the name, not the drama. Your name is your name. It's part of who you are, and you should be expected to change it just because somebody else is finding it uncomfortable. Suggesting you adopt an English name when you already have a name, and then using your ethnicity and language ability to justify it, crosses a line and comes off as xenophobic. Saying that so many Asians do doesn't make it okay to expect you to do it. The mindset reduces your identity to a stereotype and treats your name like an inconvenience instead of a basic part, a core part of who you are. But yes, thank you for saying what I said in a babble so concisely. 1,000,000% is xenophobic and absolutely reduces your identity to a stereotype. There's a food ingredient called seitan. Would it be acceptable for Emma in this situation to turn around and be like, you're not allowed to eat that here because it offends my religion? Does Emma go to Tesco and say, you're not allowed to sell that here because it offends my religion? No, because it's not discrimination unless someone is being intentionally rude to you, unless they are doing something specifically to hurt you and to target you, not just having a name that happens to be their own. That's the difference between acting on something that offends you and realizing that it's a you problem that you just need to deal with because you're not the only person that exists in this world. And it absolutely is xenophobic and racist to try and make other people do what you want to do, as I'm sure Emma would have experienced. So why the hell is she putting it on other people? I'm black, says another commenter, and I have a unique name. I've always fought for the correct pronunciation of my name and stopped people from nicknaming me because they didn't want to learn to say it correctly. Go you! In high school, a girl gave me a nickname, and then when I pushed back, she told me that a lot of black people have nicknames and just think of it like a street name given to me. Oh my god. I called her racist and had a fun 3 days of parent-teachers talks in schools. The funny thing about language is that something can offend you that doesn't offend someone else, and asking OP to take an English name was already out of pocket, but saying, well, other Asians are doing it, why can't you, is disrespectful. This whole thing is disrespectful. Not the drama. Suggest that you go by Emma if Emma goes by another name instead. When they say that that's unreasonable, reply, yes, wanting someone to change their name is unreasonable. Golden. I see what you did there. Have her call you Miss your last name. She would be addressing you politely, and I sincerely doubt your last name is also a problem in her religion. Not the drama. I hate this. Don't do that. I don't understand why it has so many upvotes. No, wait. Hang on. I thought about it and I don't dislike it anymore. I was just raging and I was like, no, OP shouldn't have to change for anyone. And that is true. You shouldn't have to change your name in the office. Jen should absolutely still be calling your name. Everybody else should still be calling you your first name. However, this does feel like a really sensible compromise. Now that my rage is out and I'm seeing it for the objective advice that it could be to help in the office somebody else not feel uncomfortable about addressing you whilst also helping you maintain your identity, it is very good advice. If Emma only says, hey, Ms. blah blah blah, whenever she needs to speak with you, and everybody else uses your first name, that sounds great. She also needs to apologise, and most importantly, Jen needs to apologise, because a manager should not be putting an employee in that position. And OP's actually responded. I just got back to this post and I'm blown away by everybody's support and wisdom. Thank you all. I'm reading your comments. I'll think about what to do next. I definitely do not want to cave at this point. Go you. I'm sorry that this is a battle that you even have to fight, but I'm really glad that you are not backing down, because you deserve that. Some people have correctly guessed my name, lol, and I'm near tears over the sweet messages that you've sent about it. Thank you again. Oh, hugs to you, OP. I'm so sorry that this is happening. You deserve better. Jen should not be a manager. Decompress. Ready? Am I the drama for not punishing my son for making fun of his sister for wetting her pants? Oh, a little baby. We were talking about pant wetting recently. How did this come up? Oh yeah, it was at a baby shower. You can see now it's not like an odd conversation within this context. And I was speaking to this parent who said that bedwetting is actually a really important issue that is quite severely neglected by healthcare. At least in the UK, doctors will not consider bedwetting as being an issue unless you are, I think it was the age of 11. and still wetting the bed. How bizarre is that? Because at the age of 7, right, if you're still wetting the bed, you know that that's an issue. But doctors just won't consider it. They won't look at it until you're 11 and they're like, oh no, now is too old. Let's see if we can help Obi out with this situation. My husband is a 40-year-old man and I am a 38-year-old woman, and we've got 2 amazing kids, a boy aged 10 and a girl aged 7. Our son's birthday was a couple of days ago and the gift he was most excited to receive was the video game Dying Light. Oh, for a 10-year-old. Okay. That's a scary game. I'm not sure if I, as a parent, would give Dying Light to a 10-year-old. Wait, what is the age restriction on Dying Light? Hang on. Dying Light. Dying Light is rated mature, blood, gore, intense violence, and strong language. Oh. I play a lot of video games. I'm launching a video game studio. I'm very excited. Sticky Ball Game Studios should definitely, by the time you're watching this video, have its own socials that you can go and support, and we're talking about it. And I would have just revealed our whole team, so you'll know who we're working with too. We're releasing our first game this year, and in summer you'll hear all about it. But my point is, we make scary horror games. I play a lot of scary horror games, and I would not let my kid of 10 years old play a scary horror game. And to me, I treat it even more severely, is severely the right word? That's the word I'm going with right now, than I would a horror movie, because the immersion is very different. Especially in Dying Light, where you have like weapons that are done like in melee, where you're very close. Yeah, the graphics are really good, so definitely don't think that's acceptable for a 10-year-old. Anyway, let's continue. He heard about it from a friend and was really excited to try it out. It's a video game about zombies and he loves anything zombie related. Today he was playing the game in our living room when his sister came down the stairs, the little 7-year-old, and unfortunately she walked in during a pretty scary part, and that part of the video game scared her so bad she peed her pants. Oh, hey, it happens. This one time in band camp, I was in year 2 and I peed my pants and there was no reason for it. I just peed my pants. I wasn't scared, I just peed my pants. And I went to the bathroom and I wouldn't get out, and my grandpa had to come and take me home. And I confessed this to the internet to say, it's not your fault, 7-year-old. Zombies are scary and being a kid is a lot, so don't worry about it. When her brother saw that she had peed her pants, says OP, he started laughing and said, haha, you peed yourself, you're a big baby. Because he's a brother, so I'm not laughing at it. It's just typical, isn't it? What else to expect from a 10-year-old brother who plays Dying Light? I went in and I asked what the matter was, and I saw that my daughter had wet herself. I asked what happened, and she said there were scary monsters in the video game that her brother was playing, and they were so scary, and she started to cry. It's a scary game! I then confronted her and took her upstairs to calm her down. I want to say this is good parenting. Right now this is good parenting because you're looking after the kid, but I hope you do go back and tut-tut the brother. Yeah, I was like, why am I thinking that? And it's because I'd forgotten the title, but you didn't punish your son for making fun of his sister. You totally should have. Let's finish the post though. Later, my husband comes home from running an errand and asks what our daughter was so upset about. I explained what happened to him and he asked what punishment I gave our son, and I said I didn't punish him. This made my husband very upset. He asked why I thought it was okay for our son to bully his sister, and I said I didn't think it was a big deal, but he insisted otherwise. I am definitely on the side of your husband with this. That's very mean. Something very scary has happened, something that I in particular just don't think should be happening anyway. But regardless of whether you let your 10-year-old play a super gory zombie game, by not saying anything, you're reinforcing that it's okay to take the piss, excuse the pun, of someone who is scared. You're showing them, hey, when somebody that you love is upset, it's okay to double down and make them feel even worse. When the message should be, this is scary. She's significantly younger than you, and I'd love for you to take a step back and see that as a big brother who cares for your sister, what you're doing is making her pain worse right now. And that's not what we do to people that we love. I mean, that's what I am seeing as punishment. Maybe the word punishment is too harsh. I guess what I'm talking about is accountability. It's a learning moment. OP ends the post by saying, my husband's been very upset with me since and claims that I should have punished our son right then, but now since I didn't, he will look like the bad guy if he now punishes him for making fun of his sister after I did nothing. I get where he's coming from, but I also don't think it's that big a deal that it's happening now. I can definitely understand his annoyance at being seen as bad cop now, but that's easily rectified by you both going to town and being like, pop the controller down, now daddy's home, we're gonna have a chat together, this wasn't okay. It doesn't have to be just the dad that's done something, so I'm struggling between no drama here and you are the drama. I think that's because I need more information. Do you see that you need to let your son know that what he did was wrong? And are you happy to have that conversation with the dad? If so, I'm more inclined to say no drama here. But if you do not want to have the conversation and it's just the dad that is doing it, then yeah, you are the drama, because you should be on the same page with parenting, and that just sounds like good parenting to me. You are the drama. You just ignored him laughing at her, didn't even talk to him about it. Have fun with the phone calls from school when he makes fun of his classmates. Someone else says, exactly, once the kid realizes that they can get away with things at home because mummy will have his back, that's how bullies are created and enabled. Letting the son play a mature rated R-rated game that has scenes that terrify his little sister enough to pee herself is another problem in and of itself. What I want to know exactly is why the son is golden child and why OP literally doesn't love her own daughter enough to keep her from repeatedly being traumatized just so her son can play a game that's not even rated for his age. Ooh, this got very deep. I do question if a lot of assumptions are being made here because I don't see like the repeatedly being traumatized, but I overall do agree with what this post is saying and someone else has said because she's a boy mom. You are the drama for reasons already stated, and why are you allowing your son to play video games that scare his sister so badly she wears her pants? Seriously, like at 10, maybe because it's been a while since I've been 10, I'm misunderstanding. I also understand that social media has a role to play. Kids are very unfortunately and very sadly growing up way faster these days than they used to, but 10 just still feels really, really young. If the kid was like 13, I think I get it. But 10? Ooh. Yeah, Dying Light is not suitable for a 10-year-old at all. If I had kids, they wouldn't be allowed to play until high school, the earliest. How old is high school? Wait. How old are you when you start high school? US. Oh, 14. Yeah, sure, yeah. Sorry, in my head, I get so confused with the American schooling system. I was expecting high school to be like college. Like UK college, which is different to America college, which is university. Why are Americans so confusing? That being said, says this commenter, I was playing stuff like this when I was 14, 15, but any earlier is way too early for that kind of game. There's a reason it's rated M for mature. And someone else actually brings up a very good point, which is that the graphics were also pretty rough then, like these little potato graphics compared to what you see in games now. And it's true, we have peach fuzz on skin, baby, which is a great thing, but also really scary, especially with games with big budget that can utilize all of that. I love Dying Light, says somebody else, and my almost 12-year-old loves horror stuff and doesn't get scared, but I still would not allow her to play that game until she was older. Okay, so there seems to be consensus here that Dying Light is not appropriate for a 10-year-old. You just taught your son that there's no consequences to bullying. Good luck unteaching that lesson. You're the drama. I don't think you have taught your son that yet. I do think that there is a world in which it's perfectly reasonable for you and your co-parent to go to the son later. In the moment, I was comforting your sister, but you need to know that it wasn't okay what you said, and I think you should apologize to her and treat her better going forward. So assuming you are wanting to do that, that you are happy to do that, and I'm manifesting that that is the case, I would not call you the drama. But if you don't want to do that, you're a big ass drama mama. Oh, and we have an update. OP says, okay, I apologize to my husband for letting our son's mean comment slide. I understand that it needs to be addressed. Yay! My husband and I are about to have a talk with our son about what he did was wrong, and he needs to apologize to his sister. I hope it goes well. And it will, and this is going to be cute because now the sister's going to be like, oh, okay, my sometimes crappy big brother is there for me, and that feels nice. And to all the people saying that I shouldn't let my son play the game, I mean, you can keep commenting if you want and I might respond, but my son will still be allowed to play the game. You do you, it's your kid. Personally, I would not be doing that. And there's a second update from OP. My husband and I talked to our son and explained to him how his sister was scared and that's why she peed her pants. We asked him how he would feel if he was that scared and she just made fun of him, and he said that he'd feel bad, and he understood that he made her feel bad by making fun of her. Yay, growth! Oh, I love that. That's a good egg kid. He's clearly mature enough to think big grown-up feeling thoughts, and maybe that's why he can play Dying Light. He apologized to his sister for making fun of her, gave her a big hug and a big kiss on the top of her head, and said that he was also sorry that his video game scared her, which is something that we didn't even ask him to say. We all comforted her and promised her that she was safe and the monsters in the game weren't real. Just you wait until she learns about the real life monsters. We told our son that from now on he can only play the game in his room because it's too scary, and he understood. And to make our daughter feel better, we made her favourite dinner, breakfast for dinner. That's so cute. Pancakes, peanut butter, hot maple syrup with a side of hash browns. Oh, that sounds amazing. I'm so hungry. And that made her quite happy. Oh, what a cute end to a post. Love to see it. Maybe my faith in humanity is restored. This final submission today is from a fellow Peach over on the r/1800drama subreddit. Thank you to everyone who uses it. It's awesome to see Peaches helping Peaches, and if you're a Peach that would like to submit a drama for consideration of the podcast or to just ask Peaches for help, remember this subreddit is here for you too. Oh, Peach asks, would I be the drama to tell his friends what he did? Ooh, this is very obscure. Normally we can get a grasp of things from the title, but this is not one of those. Let's see if we can help out. OP says, I, a 28-year-old woman, and my soon-to-be ex-boyfriend, a 39-year-old man, have been together for just over a year. Through this, he has been cheating the entire time and has also been emotionally abusive. Oh, I'm so sorry, OP. This is horrible, but I'm very glad that you're in a place where you can accept that this is what's happening, and the word soon to be means that you also have a plan to make sure you're in a position where you are treated in the way that you deserve, and that's not being the shitty relationship, and that is a huge step, so kudos to you. The first few months were like heaven. He was the sweetest, kindest, most caring man that I'd ever met, and he was cheating, but I didn't know it yet. And then something switched. No idea why or what happened, but all of a sudden everything was my fault. Couldn't find a parking space? My fault. Raining? my fault. He spent all of his money, my fault. I suddenly became ugly, fat, boring, stupid, according to him. Yes, only according to him. I'm so glad that you got the healthy mindset to reinforce that. He had to have my location at all times, and if I was somewhere he didn't expect me to go, I would be questioned. I took my son to the park, and he went off at me because my location was in the middle of a field, literally in a park with my son. Oh, dear God. I couldn't go out with my friends. I had to block certain friends working in a mostly male job. Deflection much. And I had to block many of these co-workers who were also outside of work friends. I wasn't allowed to go to my nana's for Sunday lunch. I was only allowed to do things that he wanted to do. The list goes on, and I know exactly what's going to happen when we break up. She cheated. She was a bitch. She was abusive. He said the same about his ex, and that should have been the first red flag. Oh, so hard, isn't it? I definitely do a double take when somebody says, oh, my ex was crazy. Oh, my ex was blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm like, let me hear the details. Let me verify that with other people, because that's a surefire way of knowing if you are the problem. Opie says, but there was police involvement. Well, there you go. That's your verification, right? And she did cheat, so I believed that he was genuinely the victim, and this is not your fault. None of this, Oh Peach, is your fault. I hope you can continue to remind yourself that. After experiencing him, I do genuinely believe it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Realistically, I don't care what his friends think of me. However, some of his friends are in my workplace. One of them works in the nursery that my kids go. Basically, they could make things very difficult for me if they only hear what he has to say. Adding a layer, he also currently has cancer, so obviously leaving now with no context makes me look incredibly bad. It's not a question of if I should leave him or not. That is decided. The question is, do I leave and let him tell people why we broke up, or do I tell the truth? And I do have evidence to back up everything that I've said, so he can't claim that I am lying. Oh, this is a tricky situation. I'm very sorry, OP, that you are in it, but you got this. I know you've got this. The strength that you are showing is rare in this world. And I need to clarify a few things. Number one, this is not your fault. You need to know that. This is not your fault. And for anybody else who is in a similar situation to OP, because sadly, there are far too many people trapped in relationships like this, you need to know this is not your fault. And whilst we need to be careful to not label everybody a narcissist, this heavily sounds like a narcissistic person. And I say that because there are wonderful resources out there on helping people leave relationships and heal after being in relationships with people who are toxic narcissists or people who have NPD. And I cannot tell you how invaluable those resources are. That validation of reading on a page somebody else's experience and being like, holy shit, this isn't me. This happens. This is nothing to do with what I have done. This is nothing to do with my situation. It's not personal. It is a thing that happens step by step. It is textbook of what somebody who is dealing with this does, and I do not owe them my presence whilst they figure that out. And it is really hard in these situations, particularly because you are right. Everything does become your fault. You do change. You become something else, not because you have changed, but because they were masking initially, and now they are living and navigating in their narrative, which is so detached from reality. And in these situations, unfortunately, statistics show that a tiny minority of narcissists will actually be able to grow from it. That's why it's so difficult for everybody involved, yes, including the abusive partner, but you, as the person being abused, do not owe them your presence. You do not owe them sympathy. They have hurt you. They continue to hurt you. Even when you leave, they will continue to hurt you. I'm sorry, it's true, and you know this. You're saying she cheated, she was a bitch, you know. These are the exact things that he is doing, and he will find a way to twist that on you. And if it's going to have an impact on your life, this is as much your story to refute as it is his reality in his mind to share. So no, you would not be the drama at all. And like with a lot of the posts that we look at, here the badge, obviously you're not the drama. And Peaches, I hope that you are also seeing this and are sharing this with Oh Peach down in the comment section. But the advice is more important than the badge. And how I see it is you have two options. You can either instigate this breakup and then wait, because he is going to say something, right? And upon saying something, have those receipts ready to be like, knew this was going to happen, putting this right here. Take a look for yourself. Or the other option is that you can say something specifically to the people that you are close to and that you think will impact things like your kids, because this is going to be a really hard time for them too, and you can get ahead of that. And if I were in your situation, I would be doing the second. Here's the thing though, you can still do that and get ahead of it in a way that doesn't tarnish him. And that sounds weird, but bear with me. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be tarnished. He's a horrible piece of shit. But in these situations, when you say, look, that person is a horrible piece of shit, what happens is it gives them the opportunity to play the victim, because then they can go, oh, look, this person is being so mean to me. And he is going to lie. He is going to fabricate. He is going to make you seem like the bad person. So what I'm saying is strategically, there's a way to not give him that fuel. There's a way to not say, look, he's a horrible piece of shit, and to just let time play out where they will definitely realize he is a horrible piece of shit. How many times does Shaaba say shit? Obviously, you know your situation best and will be able to provide the proper wording, but I would think that drafting something in the form of a text, an email, however it is that you communicate to the friend, for example, who works in the nursery, or the friend who you work with at work. I just need to let you know that I'm no longer with this person, and I'm letting you know because you are friends with both of us. I'm not here to talk about him. I'm just here to talk about me. I can tell you that I have not cheated and I have not been abusive. And I'm sure he's going to have things to say. And if there are any inconsistencies that you feel you would like to speak to me about, specifically for our friendship to not carry resentment, I'm here to converse with you. That's sort of what I would be saying. Not letting out all this information of how he's hurt you, not showing receipts immediately, but just warning them that they're likely to hear two different stories. And most importantly, always recentering and refocusing that conversation around your relationship with them, as in the friend, not your relationship with your ex and not your ex's relationship with them. But in order for you two to continue, what clarity do you need? And that's one of the most important tools that I learned from these books and these resources of dealing with narcissistic people, because the core of NPD or narcissism is thinking about oneself, and they will always bring it back to them. And when you are fighting a fake narrative that you can't control, that isn't about you, you can often lose sight of what's most important, which is your grounded truth and what you are dealing with now. It's not going to be easy for you, Peach, but this is a really important step that you've taken statistically as well. And if we're going by statistics, show you just how strong you've been. On average, it takes somebody 7 times to leave a relationship where they're being emotionally and psychologically abused by somebody with NPD. Imagine 7 times of trying to break up with someone and coming back. That is the average number. So you taking this step is huge. You centering yourself is huge. And whilst this isn't the end of your journey, it is the closest you've ever been to being able to move on. And as long as you keep recentering yourself, focusing on you, not taking the bait of whatever crap he wants to spill, you can continue down that road of growth and healing. I'm sending you so much love. Let's see what other people have to say. If they ask you, tell them. If they don't ask, but then try and make your life difficult, confront them and tell them. But you wouldn't be the drama for telling the truth. Gosh, that acronym is so long and I love it. You wouldn't. I love this comment. I do agree that those are options. I personally would still be getting ahead of it beforehand, but I think the important thing to take away is you are not the drama in the situation and wouldn't be for either option. You absolutely need to be the first one to speak up. You know, he's going to badmouth you and make you into the bad guy. Take screenshots of texts that he sent you. When you leave him, don't block him yet in case he sends even more incriminating texts. And when things have died down, then you can block him. And another Peach has said, so here's the thing. If you just go around telling everyone, he's absolutely going to use it as proof that you are the bad guy. I probably say something along the lines of, you've probably heard X and I broke up. I hope you and I can still have a good relationship. I know stories can get messy in this kind of thing, but I'm always happy to tell you my side / answer any questions if you hear about what has happened, if you want. Basically assume he's going to go and tell everyone how crazy you are. And the best way to disprove that is to continue being reasonable with other people. I love that. What a wonderful, valuable comment. What a wonderful, valuable way to phrase it. And I cannot stress enough those end words. The best way to disprove is to continue being reasonable and let them incriminate themselves. Oh, thank you, Peaches, for being so reasonable with your comments. I'm not surprised. This is an amazing community. I'm very lucky to be a part of it, but it's always just lovely, isn't it, to see reasonable people on the internet compared to the other Reddit forums that can be a little bit questionable. I'm sending you so much love, O-Peach. Other Peaches, comment down below, comment on the post. Do feel free to help O-Peach out yourself and anybody in this situation. I'm talking to you. Know that you are not alone with this. This unfortunately happens way more than you think. It is not your fault, and there are resources out there to help. Oh, thank you for joining me, Peaches, on today's episode. I feel like it was a bit of a long one. I'm not gonna lie, I got way more rattled by that first story than I thought I would. If you did enjoy the episode, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Then you can catch us every Monday at 6 p.m. and it lands straight in your feed and it's entirely free. If you're a Peach watching or listening to this on a podcast platform, remember you can rate the podcast out of 5 stars. That also really helps us grow, and I'll catch you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day.